Hi everyone, it's Andy from Email Love. I'm joined by my friend Sushi from a company called Sculptor, and we have been working together on an email template using the Email Love Figma plugin. And on this call today, we're going to walk through the process, show you how we optimized the design, how we fixed a few bugs in the previous template, optimized for mobile and dark mode. And then we will export the email as HTML or MJML. So Sushi, do you want to tell us a little bit about Benefit Sculptor, yourself, and the project?
Absolutely, I'd love to. So I head up product at Benefit Sculptor, and we are an insurtech startup. It's a data product, health insurance analytics for insurance brokers. And we are in the process of hard launching and turning on our marketing engines. And we're a small team, so we're doing all the marketing ourselves. And I contacted you because we actually hit a bit of a roadblock with our first email campaign, which we are using a tool that has been very challenging, shall we say. I won't mention names, but it begins with K and ends with I, and it has really not helped us. So I came to you with a little bit of a mess, because what we were seeing was, aside from the usual cross-browser compatibility or cross-client compatibility issues, we were seeing a lot of components just disappear altogether or not translate. And that's when you showed me the magic of Majimal and email. I don't know how to say it. Is that how you say it?
I believe it's pronounced Majimal. I think that's how the professionals call it, but you may know it as MJML, otherwise known as Majimal.
I prefer a Majimal. It rolls off the tongue, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Me too. I'm going to start calling it that for sure.
Okay, so yeah, I'd love to see where you've got up to.
Yes, so let's take a quick look at your design. So your designer created the newsletter and the template in Figma to begin with. So let's take a quick look at their vision for how they wanted the email to look. So this is the template. This is ideally, what your design team was looking to create, either directly in your ESP or with some kind of freelancer, or I guess you weren't really sure how you were going to build this. And so it's a pretty standard newsletter design, like template, images, header. This has obviously got a little bit of personalization, just merging in someone's first name, but this is not a heavily personalized email. This is really pretty standard stuff. HTML text, some charts, a few different sections with buttons. So it's a clean design, really easy to read. A lot of content though. So,
Yeah, correct. This is going out to new subscribers, so we just want to hit them with the goods, get them in, reel them in.
Got it. Okay, so you tried to recreate this with your platform, and here is kind of an example of what it looked like in Outlook. So I took this from Litmus, and as you can see, it's a really, I'm not loving the top here where it adds this big black section with the view in web browser link. I'm assuming that's just standard for the email platform to add. Is that?
No clue.
Okay. Okay, so it's added that. It's also making the font
different color,
like this purple color by the looks of it.
Yeah, and we struggled with consistency as well of the actual fonts. So that was a real challenge on just in terms of the actual font that was displaying sizing and weight.
I can see you have maybe your own custom font here. Is that like a brand font?
I believe that's a Red Hat display. So
Yes. Okay.
yeah, it's probably a no-no, right? But we had no real clue how to change it within the platform of Doom that we were using, which shall remain nameless, begins with K and ends with I.
You're taking a few jabs at this platform, but we we will not name it. The other thing I noticed, is you did have a really nice button in the initial design, and it looks like you could not replicate the button for the book a demo, which is a little bit of a shame.
It's a real shame. Ask the platform that shall remain nameless that begins with K.
So yeah, that's not great. I think buttons are pretty standard. And then it looks like you had issues with bullet points. I see you had quite a few bullet points, and maybe that was tricky to replicate in here as well.
Yeah, I mean, we put them in, but the platform decided that it did not like them, so that's what we got. And then,
Got it.
The last part was the icons just completely disappearing, as well as the call to action on the share your thoughts. But I think that we can probably replace that with an image, right?
Yeah, so we could talk about how to do that. Yeah, so we can go through how to replicate this template with the email of Figma plugin. We can also just take a quick look at Litmus and show you a few of the other issues we were seeing. Let me share Litmus really quickly. Okay, so we did a Litmus report on this initial design. A few of the other things would be dark mode. So it looks like, this purple text is really popping in on the black background, but I'm sure that's not really on brand for you.
And also the logo. I mean, if you go up to the header, it's completely disappeared now. And it really, wasn't our intention to have a black header. So I'm not sure. I hope we can fix that.
Yeah, we can definitely look at how to optimize for dark mode with the plugin. I also noticed on mobile devices, it really makes the logo a lot bigger, which I didn't know if you liked that or wanted that, but
that's our accessibility.
It really shouts benefit Sculptor. I think it's a little bit too big in my opinion. I probably wouldn't do that. Yeah, and then otherwise kind of the same issues across these other mobile clients. You can see this is stacking kind of. And again, another massive logo at the bottom.
Just want to make sure you know where it's coming from.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's just jump back into Figma, and we can walk you through this process here. Okay, so I am going to open the plugin.
So it's as simple as just instantiating it on the frame, is that right?
Yes. So the way it works is you will create a frame, and the frame is basically kind of a container where you then put your content. So let's just give it a name. So let's just call this our newsletter. And then the way it works is you have these pre-built components. So you have headers, pre-headers, text blocks, images, multi-column sections, buttons. And so the way that I would approach this is really, I would try to replicate the structure of this email first, and then I would optimize or update the design so it looks exactly like what you have here on the left-hand side. And so what I will do first is I will add a header, so have the logo and some text because you have the date up here. I could also add a pre-header, and obviously we'll update all the colors and the content and everything after, but we just want to get some kind of structure down first. So I'll add an image because this is going to be an image, and then you have a text block. So let's just do this first, just to show you how it works. So I have your logo, so I'm going to update that initially. Here we go. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
And then
You can do some design edits there as well, but that's nice.
yeah, so what I'm going to do is update the color. So I can actually just I use the tools on the right-hand side. So these are just Figma's native design tools to update things like the background color, update the kind of the auto layout padding. So if you want to add or change padding around this, you can easily do that. So I can maybe reduce padding there. Or I could, increase the size of the logo if I wanted to. And then I can also add the date in here. I also tend to use the text section on the right. So I'm going to change that just so it looks a little bit more like what you have here. And then I'm also going to update this so it's not a big red section. So you can see here how it very quickly starts to look a little bit more similar to what you had on the left-hand side. And then we also had an image, which I think I had here. There we go. So the way this works, by the way, is on the left-hand side, you can see each section is contained in a wrapper, and then you have a column, and then within the column, you have your contents. You have an image or text or a button or a combination of all of those things. And so you want to make sure that you're not really touching this stuff on the left-hand side. You can really move everything visually. So I can move sections up here, or you don't need to touch the left-hand side because that's how we convert the frames and the wrappers and everything, the layouts in Figma into Minimal or HTML. And so
Magic HTML.
yes, exactly. Yeah, so the nice thing is you can copy this. Let's see. Let's copy, and then I can easily paste this in. Oops, it didn't copy. Oops. Okay.
Is there a way to set the font globally? So even if you are copying across, it'll retain what our global font is and apply?
Yes. So what you can do is you can select a content block, or you can select the entire frame.
Right.
And then you can click on properties, mobile styles, or appearance within the plugin. And so if I click on appearance, this is like the style guide for the entire email. So I can change the background color. I could have it turn red. Obviously, that's horrible. I'm going to change that back to white. I can update the contents, the text colors, the links. And then I can also update those things in dark mode.
Oh, amazing. Because I'm seeing a lot of, I think that would definitely help us with some of the issues we were seeing on I think it was Outlook, right?
So Outlook, it won't update. Outlook will basically turn white into black and black text into white text. And you can't really control that, but you can control this with iOS devices. Okay. So if I want, a true black background on iOS, or if I want it to stay white, I can force it to stay white in dark mode. Right. And I can make the text black. So that's mainly for iOS. In terms of your original question around fonts, you can set a global font. So I want the font to be Inter, and then I want it to back up as Arial. And so you have a web-safe fallback in case someone doesn't have Inter installed on their machine.
What if I wanted to use Helvetica as the main font. How would I get that in? Are you?
You could select that on the right hand side, or you'd select it from this drop down. We are in the process of adding all the Google fonts in here as well. But right now you can just select Helvetica on the right hand side like this.
Got it.
There we go. I think, what was your original font? It was
No, well,
Red Hat. Red Hat's not going to be supported by many.
Red Hat,
yeah.
Yeah. But and then obviously you can just use the same Figma controls to set the font colors as well, or can you do that globally?
You can do so if I go into here, I can update all the paragraph text in one place.
Yeah.
And then you can also, the color styles are here. So the text color would be set on this page on color styles. And then you can also set individual color styles. So I could select some text and say, I want this to be bold, and I want that to be red. And then you can also add URLs in here as well. So adding a URL into some text would just be using native, Figma functionality.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's now added a link in here. And then you can also add links to images and buttons by clicking on the properties tab. So I could add my link in here as well as my alt text.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. So that's just in properties, you select like the component and then you just go into properties for that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You can also render sections as an image. So if I want this to be rendered as an image, I can do that.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
You might want to do that if it was like a really complex section, or if it wasn't going to work in email HTML, you may want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the use case there.
Nice.
But yeah, you can see here we very quickly, replicated the top part of the newsletter. In terms of kind of this section with the button, what I would do is I would basically find a section that looks similar. And this is pretty simple. It's just a headline with some text and then a button. And so what we can do is we can then center this button. We can make it the same color. We can make it the same text. We can, and this is going to be what we call a bulletproof button. So it's made, so it's made with HTML. It's going to look good in all the different email clients and devices. And it's not going to be an image. So that's why it's called a bulletproof button, because it basically looks good everywhere.
This I have to see. This I need to see.
Okay, demo. And then what was the color of this section? It was like a blue. Oops. Yeah, so let's change this. Okay, so that's looking fairly similar to what you had. And I think in the actual version that you had to make this button into text, just a text block. So if we preview this, and that's the other nice thing about the plugin, is you can preview how the email looks in desktop, on mobile.
That's great.
And in light mode and dark mode.
Oh, amazing. How did you get there again? Can you show me?
Yeah, so select the frame and then you click on preview right here.
Oh, that's really cool. And can you even preview just small sections too, if you wanted to?
You can break out the email into different sections and preview them, but typically you need to have a frame to preview. So you would be previewing everything in this newsletter frame.
Got it. Okay. And so when we previewed it just now, how did it look on mobile?
Let's have a look. So here it is on desktop. Here it is on mobile. So you can see here
Yeah.
the button kind of changes shape, it expands.
So we've got some actually, no, it looks pretty,
Well, the fonts don't look quite right here. I think this font doesn't look quite right. So what would we do? Let's have a look here.
And what would you do about the spacing as well between hello recipient name and the next paragraph on mobile? Because I could see that it was collapsing.
Yeah, so you can change the spacing with yeah, okay, so what that is typically when you copy and paste from somewhere else, it may not recognize the spacing properly. And so what I would typically recommend you do is you just delete the spacing completely and then just re-add it. And let's see if this has fixed it. Okay, so that's looking better.
Nice.
It does have quite a bit of spacing here on the right and left-hand side. If you wanted to change that,
Yeah.
that's done with auto layout. So when you select the column, you can see here there's 60 pixels of padding on each side. So I might want that to be 40. And so then I can preview that. So what I did there was I select the wrapper.
Yeah.
And then the column within that wrapper, think of that as like the column in the HTML that contains this text. It has 40 pixels and you can increase or decrease that on each side. I tend to use the auto layout section because then I can do that in one place. I can say, I want 40 pixels padding on each side of that text block, and I want 35 above and below.
Nice.
So that's a quick demo of how to start building out and customizing the components in the plugin. Here is a pre-design, or here's the template that we actually built together. And so as you can see, it looks very similar to what your designer originally had.
Yeah.
All the text kind of looks the same. Images are there. The bullet points are there. This section has that little image block just above the text. It has an actual button, and then it also has the social media icons and logos at the bottom and the footer. And so what we can
that was disappearing on our version that we built in the horrible platform that begins with K and ends with I.
Exactly. And so if we preview this, you can see here it's looking pretty good on desktop. If we look at it on mobile, everything stacks nicely. You don't have a huge Benefit Sculptor logo at the very top. And if you look at it in dark mode, so one thing you mentioned was the logo. You do have the ability to switch out the logo, or what I would actually advise is putting a white outline around the logo so you can see it better in dark mode. I think that would work really well for this logo.
Let's say we just changed up the color so that it inverted differently.
Yeah, so one thing you can do is if you go to the Appearance tab, there is a logo section where you can upload a dedicated logo for dark mode. So that is possible. You could do that. The only thing that I would be a little bit wary of is just the size of this email. So adding anything else like that is going to add code. And this email, as you can see, is 105 kilobytes. And you'll notice that is red. And that is red because it is potentially going to get clipped in Gmail is the issue. That's why we've highlighted that, because it's quite a long email. and it produces a lot of rows of code. And so I would advise not adding any more content than this. In fact, I think I've tested this, and what you can do is you click on export, and you can test directly from the plugin. So if I send myself a test, we can actually see what this looks like in Gmail. I believe it says it gets clipped, but you can still see all of the content. And so
As long as like the main sections, the main call to actions there, it'd be great if we could just check it out in Gmail quickly.
yes, so here is my Gmail account. You can see here it actually doesn't say it's been clipped, which is good. If we go to the bottom, okay, it says down here, message clipped, but you can see the full email has been included.
Yeah, it looks really good.
And you can see here, it looks almost exactly like how your designer had created it.
I mean, it looks pretty perfect to me. So that's fantastic. Oh, the power of Gmail.
Majimal. So you just backtracking a little bit, you can export as code, HTML code. Majimal code will download a Majimal file for you. We have Klaviyo, we've got MailChimp, we've just added Iterable, and we are adding loads of new integrations at the moment as well. So when you select one of these options, you'll be asked to add your API key, and then it will export directly to that platform in most cases.
Nice. That's so cool. So you can literally just have your other tool open, and it will populate within this sort of, I guess, a repository for new emails.
Exactly. So that in the most companies using this, they're saving several hours per campaign, because the typical process would be to design it in Figma and then hand off the design to a developer or an email marketer who would then have to replicate this within a drag and drop tool, which is what I believe you are doing in your platform, and then running into all sorts of issues. And
It's definitely more drag, more of a drag.
yeah, more drag than drop.
For sure.
Yeah.
This looks
So
great. I can't wait to get into this. It looks so frictionless.
yes, exactly. That's the idea. Now that you have the template, very easy just to update the copy, update the images. As I said, you can very quickly pick up the content blocks, move them around when you want to, adjust the spacing and the padding, and get it looking exactly how you want before exporting to your email platform.
One thing I noticed there is you have a command saying upload hosted image URLs. So does this also have its own storage for emails? Nice.
Yes. So if you don't check that little button there, it will export the images as separate images in a file, and you can host them yourself. Or if you check this, we will host the images on our own servers for you. And so that's what most people do. It's much faster and easier that way. And so just clicking on that and downloading is going to give you the HTML with all the images hosted for you.
Super. You guys have thought of everything.
Thank you. Yeah, we've tried. We use this ourselves. We build emails in here all the time, and so we're always adding features like that to make the process easier and faster.
Nice. Awesome.
Okay. Any other questions?
No,
Before
this is great. I can't wait to become an email goddess.
I think you already are, Sushi. I believe in you, and thank you for the time. Appreciate it, and yeah, let's make some more emails with Majimal.
Love it.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.